Hey guys, notify if you can hear me or not. I want to do this video in response to a video that I just took a little bit of time watching, and um if you think basically this video is about that basically Christianity is phony. It was just beaten into black people by the slave masters or the slave masters. I want to point out one logical fact. Let's say the concept of let's say the concept of let me find a good example. Let's say the concept of a tree, if there was such thing as trees, was beaten into you. Doesn't mean trees don't exist, or the existence or the concept of a tree isn't true. No. It's bad logic there. But the common thread is that by the so-called woke people, the spiritual people, those that are woke, those that are fulfilling whatever they think the purpose of life, to be a higher being, they think that religion, especially to the black people, as in they have black complexion. It's not an identity, it's just a complexion of skin. But we are all unified in our DNA and genetics. We all descend back to one man. Evolutionistic, our common ancestor. Logically, to conclude, it's a man brought forth created by a designer. Because there's philosophical inconsistencies and dilemmas with the idea of the evolutionary worldview. There's no basis for absolute truth or morality from that worldview, and all I have to do is prove to you with such an absolute certainty. Let me see a shot in the foot. I'll ask you, that hurt? Are you certain that hurts? You'll be certain. Don't play this joke with me that you want to just mess around in the mind and try to deny the such thing as absolute certainty. Because the only thing I need to do to debunk deism, to debunk emotional polytheism, to debunk atheism, to debunk your weird spirituality is to prove there's something that your worldview can't substantiate, which is absolute knowledge. All they have to do, and then your whole worldview goes down the toilet. And we're going to talk about this. Was and is Christianity to enslave black people? Now, this kind of logic here is pretty stupid. One, many cultures, the Greeks, the Arabs, many cultures were enslaved in the past. The Jews, if you will, were enslaved in the past. It doesn't affect Jews or Jews, it doesn't matter. They were still enslaved. Does it mean, or narrative history says enough, does it mean that, but you guys, since you guys are the most recent, you make a big deal out of it, like it's such a bad, like it's just narcissistic. It's something that has happened because of the corruption and the decay and the evilness inside of society that we are so greedy and selfish and so narcissistic that we enslave one another. It's something that has happened for millennia. But you guys make a deal out of your slavery. It's illogical. How be consistent and sympathetic with other people back in enslavement history now? It's like you're the only ones that have been enslaved. Another thing that's brought up in this video is the saying that the Bible says slavery is okay. Does the Bible say modern slavery if we think that now is okay? No. There's a difference between biblical slavery, between in the context of the New Testament when all was brought into the new part of one body. Things changed because man's home changed. So slave was to be treated with care, fed, clothed. If you punish the slave, you'd be punished. And you have to let them go. If you knock the teeth out, you have to let them go. And everyone read the Old Testament and say, well, the Old Testament says if you hit somebody, you beat somebody, and they leave, the story. You know why that is? That's symbology right there. The reason why little circumstances happen in the New Testament. That even if the person treats you bad, whether it's a parent or whether I got it. The symbology with that is this. That even if you disagree with what God, the potter, does to the clay, it doesn't give you a logical basis to go on. But if God were to actually be evil, then you can go free. But God will not do you any evils on your definition, even though He decrees and His nature emanates what's actually good and evil. And according to Him, He cannot do no evil. So, and He defines what's good and evil. So there's no evil to be found within Him. So the symbology of those circumstances. And honestly, if you were to be a dog, and the dog would survive, and you would have repentance, and the dog would survive, the dog is still your property. It's logical, even though you may harm your property, it's still yours. So the what's owned doesn't say to the owner, hey, you're wrong for this. There's submission there, there's logical entitlement. That the maker says to them what's made, do this and do. You don't critique the maker. You get some knowledge of that little substance in the New Testament. Again, if somebody, and plus, if a nation or a person is involved in child sacrifice and a bunch of wicked sexual rituals, they deserve to be in the wrath of God. Those Gentiles that were enslaved, they were Gentiles, mind you, only Gentiles. Those Gentiles that were enslaved under vigor, they deserved it. They were under the wrath of God. They were God's hands and feet to inflict, to execute His anger upon that nation and doing wickedness, child sacrifice, sexual things, just a bunch of wicked things. They were throwing their kids in the fire, and you guys, that's just. They deserve what they're getting. But the Jews, the wholesome Jew, the Israelite in the Old Testament, since they were expected or were to be just. If the Jew was enslaved, if you would punch a Jew's tooth out, you'd let the Jew go. It was only the Gentile that was enslaved under vigor. That was forbidden to be enslaved under aggression. I just explained to you how that is just. How even in your modern vernacular, if you saw somebody doing child sacrifice, tossing their children in the fire, if they were enslaved with aggression, then you would say, hey, that person deserves that. It was only Gentiles, the Gentiles who were involved, at least for the larger part, involved in this wicked practices that were treated that way in slavery. So modern slavery and biblical slavery is a different story. You can't compare the two. It is only the Gentile you can find comparison. I just find you how that's just and how even you would find that logical and deserving if a Gentile would go through that. It wasn't the Jew. Just research what Gentile nations, what outside Israel nations were doing back then. Wickedness, sexual debauchery, child sacrifice. So they deserve what they got when they were brought into slavery. And even you would say that if you had a logical mind or even a modern mindset. So let me get back to this. Point 1, the Bible does not condone, the New Testament does not condone what we think of slavery today. Point 2, even in point 2, even if the slave masters beat black people into believing the religion, that doesn't logically conclude that the belief system is false. If I beat you into believing that I had a foot, just an example, would that logically conclude that my foot, I have a foot? No. It's a lot of the modern social justice black community wants people to get all emotionally stirred up and be emotional thinkers and not logical thinkers. You need to think. And you think that since you call yourself woke that you're thinking. No, you're not thinking. If you think like this, you're not really reasoning. You're not really going deep in that thought. You see, is this really logical? Could this be logical? No. You need to think. So, another point. There's been many people, many cultures, eras, the Greek, that have been enslaved in history, but you guys make a narcissistic perspective on your slavery since it's so recent, like you're the ones that have been enslaved. It's quite illogical, and this has pretty much been a normal thing throughout history for societies and cultures to enslave one another. It reveals the brokenness and the problem with mankind. It's not something that we should just hate each other over and get some worked about. It's just something that goes on. Another point. Another point. I got a primary source that the slavery that you were taught in your history class wasn't entirely true. That the so-called beatings weren't exactly happening or so much as you were taught. I got a primary source that I could present. I got a primary recording of something in the Civil War. So I will show it on the channel. I can show it some other time. You can stay tuned. I'll actually upload it after this video. So subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and I'll put that video, the primary source I got. There is on YouTube a recording of something in the Civil War. The Civil War, slavery, what you taught in history class, wasn't entirely true. Even the narrative in Civil War wasn't entirely true. There's even people that are in the secular world, there are even people that are not really knowledgeable in the field that I'm knowledgeable in, or not have the same worldviews I have. I know somebody that came over here that said, yeah, the Civil War, if they read, the Civil War wasn't over slavery, it was an economic war. You were lied to. You were taught some false information. So, no. One, the narrative of slavery you taught in history class is not entirely true, not entirely accurate. Two, the narrative of what Civil War being fought over isn't true. But even the narrative of what you taught in history class of the slave masters, they were not Christian. We need to use logic here. Use logic here. If Christianity is found by the source, the scripture, and the scripture defines what Christian is, if the scripture would expose that person that just using that label to control people, just to feel better about themselves, and expose them as the child of the devil, you need to be logical and take that criteria into account. Just like as other belief systems, if you have a belief system, and in the criteria, in the basis, in the source, you find the layout of who makes a believer, who makes a follower, and this source is you not to follow your counterfeit, you need a logic to take under account. A racist, habitual racist is not a Christian. A habitual racist, if you hate habitually, you are the devil. Jesus said, if you hate your brother in your heart, you commit murder. And then 1 John says that you know that no murder of eternal life abide in you. I'll give you that verse below. No, it's 1 John chapter 3. Around 1 John 3, you will find that. So no, a habitual racist is not a Christian. It also says that the devil and they have no eternal life in them. One, these people were Protestants, and if you research, Protestantism is not Christian. It's an offshoot of Catholicism. They weren't even Christians. Many people use the name Christianity to get popularity, to get acceptance in society, to have a crutch for death and problems. Many people use it as a label for power in their own life and themselves and outwardly in society. It doesn't make them actual Christians. Even according to the source, we get at that word, we get that basic principle, that basic concept from. It would disqualify them. And we have to think logically and not emotionally. We have to think consistently and not traditionally. So, these guys weren't Christian. So, and talking about the liability of the new, let me just lay down some facts here. We know, even atheists, even people that are scholars or atheists, we know that Jesus existed. We got pagan sources and we got outside biblical sources that existed, but let's first cover the historical criteria of the liability of the New Testament. The New Testament, for historical bases and principles, qualifies as an actual biography, as historians call, not a fictional writing. It basically qualifies how it's written and how it's less to be corrupted, and how there's outside sources backing up the narrative, and it qualifies as more of a historical source rather than a fictional writing. But let me just give you some facts. The New Testament was copied 24,000 or 5,000. It was copied over a vast period of time, like 5,000 copies. If you go through how we measure like the liability of historical documents, it's more liable than Plato and Tiberius Caesar. We got 10 sources on Tiberius Caesar, and it is a knowledge that he existed. We got 41 sources on Jesus Christ. So, and that's how we measure the legitimacy of historical documents. We measure if they meet the criteria of how a historical document is written, or is it written more in a fictitious narrative, and in the New Testament is written more in a historical format and has archaeological proofs backing up the stories. It's been called by historians biographies and not stories. So no. We got 4 outside sources. We got 4 sources for the miracles of Jesus Christ, including the Talmud, which is plenty it's antichrist. They hate him, man. They call him a bastard and so on. But there's a difference, and let me quickly dispel the idea, both scientifically, genetically, and biblically, the idea of racism. It's said in DNA that a white man is half black. That there's basically racism racism is just a color of skin. A black man, a white man, we are all, I already touched on it. To an evolutionist, we are descended back to the DNA can go both ways. Logically, I can prove it can be consistent and go not to the ancestor, not to come ancestor narrative, but to the one man narrative. We all descend back to one being. The evolutionists say the common ancestor. The other narrative should be proven and more logically consistent based on philosophical principles. Adam, yes, we do have the DNA of Adam. We do have a DNA go back to one man. And we do have, there is proof that people have also have descended from one woman as well. So we got the proof that we descended from one man, and proof we descended from a woman. But the evolutionists add years and they split that narrative and claim that happened somewhere other than some. They take that truth and the evolutionists and the evolutionary historical perspective, they split it and as it was previous and not in the past. So they split that. But so basically, no, if you know philosophy, if you want to talk about philosophy, if you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. I can talk more than one previous videos where talking about philosophy. Or better, or you're gonna come on and ask me some questions, But no, archaeology, history, and plus testimonial is point. I can refute polytheism. I can, at least a lot of it. I can refute deism, which is the belief that even in personal God. There's a philosophical dilemma with that. I can refute a lot of stuff. And Christianity is hamstrung. Anybody wants to philosophically refute Christianity. And my belief system, when I wasn't raised, I was raised at a church, and I didn't know the Bible. I wasn't raised to be against sin. I became a Christian like 3 years ago. So, and it wasn't in a church. I got born again. And just to be a brief summary of my testimony, I was diagnosed as a kid, cerebral palsy, and I was also born dead. I was never able to walk or talk. The doctors told my mom I was never able to walk or talk. I still have like a dead part of my brain. And see, as a medical man, I'm communicating because you wonder where that dead part of the brain is. So, but 4 years ago, in my condition, and I say, I'm just giving you my testimony. I don't tell you this happened by the power of Christ, not the power of living in the age. Stupid, philosophically refuted entities or concepts. So, my condition was my cerebral palsy 4 years ago. I couldn't barely walk or talk. I had cramps on the street. I would stay in pain. I had scoliosis, I had back pain. But once I was born again, I was wanting to walk. I can walk 4 miles without pain. I can walk. I'm not perfect, but that's part of my history. And having months of I born again. And trust me, that's not normal. It doesn't just happen. You think it'd be more medically explained and studied if it happened within a matter of years after that, but a matter of months, no, especially that I wasn't really walking a lot, like walking exponentially to strengthen my muscles. So, but I could go into more history, historicity of the New Testament, proving Christianity and proving all this. I've done it in the past. I was led to, I would. I'm going to look at the comment section. So I recommend, if you want to find out the information I'm presenting, based on what I've shown up, anybody that would go on this narrative and go, religion is a basis for control. Religion is for control, but not Christianity. Notice how the religions of the world and the basis and for post-Christianity is more genuine to the core of the concept of Christ who only goodness. You can see it on media, it happens. The evidence goes that the true Christ, not the Christ of the modern churches, but the actual Christ that changed my life, is real, and is true. And if you repent, and turn to Christ, you'll find out. You'll find out that it's true. I wouldn't do it. I still have the video I put about the New Age movement in the future. But if you want to, I basically read the idea that this Christianity teaches that it doesn't condone slavery. It's a modern narrative. And the modern New Testament narrative, the narrative that the Jews wanted, that slavery is like a binding contract. It's like you sign a contract, you're a slave, but you are a worker at this company, at this time for years. And you would be treated right. If you treated wrongly, got a tooth knocked out, you would be set free. So, or you were obligated to be set free. So it wasn't this process, but the idea that it's just to control black people is stupid. Christians and plus Christians and plus a lot of people within early history that were Christians were actually dark-skinned. So the idea it was to control black people is bogus. It's just another. Christianity actually teaches unity and love and just we do violence. It says God made of all nations and done well. Maybe Adam and Eve were just white? No, they were dark. So there's no such thing as racism, especially in the Bible. God made of nations, all of them, blood, all nations. The whole thing is black, dark. Complexion is no big deal. Just complexion. You can get a white man can get his complexion changed out in the sun. Complexion doesn't make your nationality. So it's just stupid. People that make a big deal out of the complexion, I think it's such a big deal. True people are stupid, and true people are prideful and narcissistic. It doesn't mean in actuality that the complexion thing is a big deal. It's your character. So, if you want to know more information about the truth, not what these liberal, emotional thinkers want to condition you as a white man or the black man, quote unquote. But if you want actually truth, and you actually find the truth, forget what you've been taught in the so-called churches. You actually find the truth and find the one that delivers, that heals, and I'm a testimony of that. Subscribe to the channel, click the bell. I also do open hangouts, so anybody can come on and ask me questions, or present to me your disagreements, your objections, and I'll answer them if I have the knowledge to do so. So, guys, be blessed. Hopefully you watch this. I pretty much presented evidence of the whole black narrative. No, Christianity is not about keeping morals. It's about there is a creator. There is a law. There is a moral law, if you will. We broke that moral law. We can't live to our creator's conditions and standards in ourselves. So God sent His Son to die on the cross, and He rose again and symbolically meet the conditions that we need to meet to live to a standard to fulfill the purpose of life, which is obedience, and to bear fruit, and to bear meaning, and to bear glory unto eternity. And the symbology of that was the crucifixion, the death of the selfishness, the burial, the burying of living life to yourself and doing your own ways. And logically, if there is a creator, we're meant to do what He wants, not what we want. Because what we want logically could produce death, because we are designed to follow the creator's life. And selfishness, our own ambitions, always produces mistakes and death and destruction and messing up a family and so on. So the burying of our own selfish ways in this world that just corrupts us and deludes us and derails us from our purpose and filling the meaning of life. In the resurrection, to be connected to our Creator, the relation of our Creator, to be a new person, and to be sanctified and purified to enter the kingdom of God. The meaning of life, one other answer, is test. To pass this test is by faith and by the power of the Most High God within you. To overcome the works of the devil, the works of sin, and the temptations of the world. And to bring people and overcome the works that are upon them of the devil by the Holy Ghost through you or with you, through the works that you do and the stuff you do and what you put out there. So more people may trample, make a mockery of Satan, us meanly people, lesser beings, make a mockery of a very powerful being, fallen angel Satan, with the glory of the Most High God. That's one of the meanings of Satan. So if you want more information, check out my channel and click the channel. Alright, guys, be blessed. I love you guys. In the name of Jesus.